You may have seen a special on Dry Bar, the second special on Dry Bar. In between cruises, please go to the stage, the very hilarious Mr. Steve Soelberg.
You killed it, man. Great job, thank you. Josh Phonocloffi, let him hear it one more time. Oh, great. Oh my goodness. That was exciting. This is the first time I've done a show with Mamma Mia, and I really like everything about it. I know. Where does this? Okay, right where I thought. Okay. It's amazing. It's gorgeous, it's beautiful, and thank you for being here. It makes perfect sense that this theater is in this town, and zero sense whatsoever. Driving past Oneida and Minidoka. Where were you guys from? Where was the other one? Massapequa? I had some of those. They were delicious. And still got it on my face a little bit. Made a little bit of a Massapequa myself. They were so good. I love yeah, this is such a beautiful place, and you guys are such nice people. It's weird, right? Is it weird? Is it normal for you? Just like everybody's nice? Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? And it is awful. I mean, it's freezing cold. And it is not pretty. I don't mean to offend you. But this is a gross place. It's nothing. Oh, but is it nice? Yeah, it's 19 degrees outside. It's beautiful. They have a gorgeous theater, though. What? The Wilson brothers. I love their positivity is amazing. They were like, we're going to build this beautiful theater. We're going to make it amazing. It's going to be awesome. And then that will put Rupert on the map. And do you think, I wonder what they talked about, like, after about 3 years. They were like, do you think maybe we built it too soon, or what? When's it gonna catch on? Just be patient, brother. Just wait it out. Not an easy gig to do. There were 700 seats the first time it opened. Did you know that? 700. How many are in here now? 400. That's how fat you guys got. There used to be 700 of you. I'm sorry. That's how we all got, right? Why did we get bigger? Have you heard that? I've heard that. I don't know if it's true, and how do we even know it? Is there like a door somewhere with marks where it's like, Bartholomew? Oh, are you sure? How would we know? I like that we did this because when we do shows like this, I do a lot of shows where they go, what music do you want to come out to? And I don't know. I never know. And one time it was Valentine's Day. And they were like, do you want to come out to music? And I felt like, we should do something, because it's Valentine's Day. So I said, let's play like Marvin Gaye or something, like, get him in the mood. I decided to play Marvin Gaye, Let's Get It On, right? Do you know that one? It's kind of a weird one to come out onto the stage. Let's get it on, but I still thought it was a good idea, just because I was like, it'll make sense later, because it's Valentine's Day. But we didn't have it on the, like the playlist in the back. And I said, I'll just play it on my phone. We'll just play it like that, through the microphone. I thought it was a good idea. Here's the thing. We weren't in a bustling metropolis like, Rupert, but it was worse. It was, not that this actually is a beautiful place, but it just wouldn't play. It was buffering, and I couldn't get it to play, and I was like, never mind, just play whatever you want. And so I went to the bathroom right before the show, And I go into the bathroom, and there's 2 stalls. One of them is occupied, so I take the other one, because you're not supposed to share stalls. And right as I stood next to a stranger, from my pocket, he looked at me, and I looked at him, which is a no-no in the men's room, just so you know. Eyes straight ahead. He goes, "What's going on?" I said, "That's for something else." And he pressed me on it. "What else is it for?" And that was my opportunity to be like, "Oh, I'm the comedian tonight," and I was just gonna play that music because it's Valentine's Day. That would have made sense. But instead, to a stranger in the bathroom with Marvin Gaye playing from my pocket, I said, "You'll see." He did not see. He ran out of there so fast. I often wonder what he thinks was happening. Like, in his mind, like, what is the story that he tells, right? That's the one I want to hear. I went into the bathroom one time, and this Kevin Bacon-looking guy came in, and I think he was gonna assault me, and he brought a soundtrack, and I left pretty fast. Smart move. I don't know if that's what my face looks like. People tell you what they think you look like, right? And they go, "You look like if David Spade and Kevin had a baby." I had a stranger come up to me and he said, "No offense." That's how he started talking to me. "No offense. Don't do it. Why are you doing this? You already know. You already know it's not going to be good." And he goes, "You look like Mark Wahlberg." And I was like, "Oh, never mind. Keep going. Thank you. It's very nice." Like if he never worked out. Oh, that's not... Why would you say that part? And I do work out. I don't know if you can tell I work out. I was huge in the 1600s. I was a giant. I don't know. I like to run to work out. Does anybody like to run? One woo. That was nice. You can see that's usually the numbers out of a Wilson-sized theater. You get one woo, and that's common. I get it. Running is a weird sport to love. I don't know why I love it. I do. This was an Olympic year. That's like a great year for me. I get to watch my favorite sport on TV. All these fantastic runners and all the Kenyans. I was a runner in high school and college, and I've seen lots of Kenyans run. They're beautiful. It's amazing. I see it a lot from behind. I do love watching the Olympics just in general because you get to judge people based on stuff that you have no business judging. You'll see a big splash and you're like, "Go home, idiot." You don't know how to dive. I don't know how to dive. They're diving from how high? I don't know, 10 meters? I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. Come on. It's too high. So scary. I'm afraid of heights a little bit. You guys, do any of you have that? Yeah, it's weird. Do you have the thing where when you stand at an edge, your brain goes, "What do you think about this? What if you just jumped, dude?" And your brain's like, "Don't do that." And the weird voice in your head is like, "But what about it?" And you're like, "No." Like, I'm not anything of that type of person. I'm feeling pretty good about life, but like, and I'm just like, this is a weird moment. And then you're like, your logic brain is like, don't do that. And you're like, okay. And then your weird part of your brain is like, okay, but maybe throw your cell phone and see. This is high enough. I'm curious. I don't know why. That's not a joke. For some reason, I've never done that before, and I thought I'd try it. Now I regret it a little bit. Stand back here now. I have a weird brain a little bit. Everybody does. You probably all have this problem. Have you ever been talking to somebody with an accent? You start using their accent. Isn't that a beautiful moment where they're like, just talking away? My friends from Australia, they're talking to me and they're like, are you using our accent? You're like, nerd. Did you just say nerd? Nerd. So tempting, right? I walked into a store and the greeter guy goes, hello. So I said, hello. I copied him perfectly. He's like, oh, fantastic. Where you from? Seattle. You don't talk like you're from Seattle. No, I don't. I'm embarrassed. He's embarrassed. War. I don't know. I didn't know how to get out of it. Just standing there. What we're gonna do? I had to confess. I had to be like, look, I'm sorry I'm doing that. This is how I talk. I'm very sorry. To be fair, you started it. This is your fault. He said to me, I talk like that too. I'm very sorry. I was just trying to I don't know why I did that. Do you know why we do it? There's a couple of theories I have. I got one from Google. I don't know if it's a theory. I was like, why do we copy each other's accents? And Google was like, in your brain, there's these things called mirror neurons, and mirror neurons make you look like an idiot. They're just your self-conscious neurons. You're like, you don't have a personality. Talk like they do. And that's your mirror neurons in action. I know more about mirror neurons than I let on because I'm still single, and like when you're still single, you learn stupid facts that everybody, because you're just like desperate. You're like, how do I figure this out? And you're like carrying like weird, you do weird stuff. Some people know what I'm talking about. You carry like rose quartz in your pocket. Yeah, there you go. Single people. But there was a lot of woo energy there, that she's got rose quartz in her pocket right now. I can tell. It's amazing, yeah. You start believing in weird stuff. You're like, do crystals work? What works? I need to see a witch doctor. I need somebody to be like, you need some love in your life. But I learned about mirror neurons from, it said that if you're sitting down and the person's feet are facing your feet, that's a mirror neuron effect, and that means that they love you. And so you look like an idiot. You sit down for lunch and you're like, what does it mean if their feet are like this? And you start freaking out. And here's the thing. My other theory on accents, though, it's not a scientific. It's based off of the fact that your tongue, in my opinion, has a mind of its own, right? You'd say, you know that, because sometimes you say things that you're like, what am I doing? And your tongue's like, I don't know. I just wanted to talk about that. And your brain part is like, don't do that. Do you ever do this when you like have a conversation and then you're like, that was weird. I said something weird. And you think about it the rest of the day, you're like, and then even if you like said a word weird, you're like, I said the word they weird. And so then you'll practice it later on. Do you ever do that? You practice speaking, but you're not by yourself. For some reason, I'll practice when I'm like walking around town. I'm like, try that again. They, and then like, who? And no, not you. I'm just practicing for another time. I talk to a different they. Not you. I'm talking to them. Not they, them, but Are you a they, them? What do you, never mind. Made a mistake. I've messed up. I gotta practice more. It's your tongue. It's your tongue doing that. That's not your brain doing that. Your brain would never say something so stupid, but your tongue's like, you get to do whatever I want in here. The reason I also have a theory on your tongue doing whatever it wants is because I have a permanent retainer in my mouth. Permanent retainer is just a metal bar that Dr. Payton puts on the backside of your teeth when you get your braces off. And the second it goes into your mouth, your tongue is just like, did you know this is here? Did you know this is here? Did you see this? Did you see this? There's a metal bar right here. There's a metal bar right here. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. We found it. 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 We should touch it. We should touch it all day. What if you didn't touch it? That would be weird, right? And you're like, stop touching it, tongue. No problem. We'll stop whenever you tell us to. Did you tell us to stop? We didn't stop yet. It's so tempting to touch. Look at it. It's weird. It's foreign. This is what teeth feel like. This feels very different than your teeth. And we cut ourselves on it. We cut ourselves on it. We cut ourselves on it. We hurt now. We hurt. We hurt. It hurts when we do this. It hurts if I do this. You're bleeding now. This is gross. We're bleeding. Why are we doing this? We can't stop. Your blood tastes like screws, by the way. And we're bleeding. You're gross. Whether or not you've had a permanent retainer, you've had a tortilla chip, or perhaps a freshly cooked almond stuck in your teeth right now. And your tongue is like, we got it, we got it. We'll get it out, we'll get it out. We'll get that roasted almond out, no problem. No problem, no problem. Your tongue is awful at getting it out, just so you know. It's not gonna get it, it's gonna touch it a lot. It's never gonna get it, because tongue doesn't have the ability to grab. It just touches it. And so you go, finger, you've got a nail, get it. Tongue, you're out. Oh, finger, you're in. Is it here? Oh, that's not where it is. Try again. Is it here? No. You're awful at finding it. Tongue, you're back in. We got it. We got it. We got it. We got it. It's right here. 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 Do you need to find it? It's right here. We found it. And so then you have to make a partnership. Finger and tongue are now on the same team. You go, tongue, find foreign object, and tongue finds it. And then you go, finger, find tongue. Is it here? Yes, very good. You found tongue. Good job. Fantastic. This one hits too close to home for him. I get it. Because this right here, this is actually why you're still single. You should never do this on a date. Their feet will never face yours when you're doing this. They look at you like, that's frightening. Which, to be honest, could be to your advantage, actually. I read this, actually. It was in a scientific journal. It said that the same hormone that's released when we're afraid is also released when we're in love. Did you know that? Seems weird. Why are those the same hormone? I don't understand that. It does explain some couples that you meet. You're like, why are they oh, they scare each other. That makes sense. I use it now that I know it, right? Show up on a date, she's coming to the door, I'm your date! You know, I just scare her. Freak her right out. Didn't mean to make you guys fall in love. Sorry about that. I did not plan on this job. Some of you have figured that out by now. But, you know, what do? You make all the plans that you can, and that's what's that saying? Life happens when you're making other plans? That's what happened here. I was studying biology in college. I got my degree in biology, thought I would go to medical school, become a narcissist, right? And the town doctor's like, well, that's enough of this. I did not like that show. No, this is a very narcissistic job. I understand that. But why do you end up doing this when you studied that? Childhood, right? It's always your childhood. That's what develops you as a human. And when I was a kid, I had an upbringing that probably wasn't that different than most of you. My parents, religious folks, they didn't want us to swear. That was a rule in our house, no swearing. Probably a pretty common rule. There's not a lot of parents that are like, you know what, swear at your mom. Like, no. They don't want you saying anything that would be rude, right? We weren't allowed to say shut up. We said shush up. We couldn't say sucks. We decided to say vacuums. And you do that? I think a lot of you did that. That totally vacuums. Everybody had their own word for flatulence, right? What was ours? Ours was, my dad would say, bad air. You had bad air. Imagine my concern when I move. I live in Salt Lake City now. Salt Lake City has bad air all the time. And they'll say it on the news. It's bad air day. Boom. How come? What happened? I always am curious because I learn different words that people use. Was anybody similar to mine? What else did you guys have? Bad air? Anybody have other words for tooted? Very popular. Tooted. Fluffed. That was always one of my favorite ones. People said fluffed. That just sounds so delicious, like in a weird way. Like when they're like, do you want fluff on that? Maybe? I don't know. Isn't there like a thing called fluff, like a spreadable cream or something like that? Fluffed. I'm trying to think what my other friends would say. They said, flatus? Somebody said flatus? And then the one that I didn't like the most, and I've never done this in a show. I'm not sure why I'm doing this. Fanny burp was the one that... I regret saying that. I'm sorry. It's too late. I told you. We weren't allowed to say but. That was one that was not the conjunction, but the two T's, right? I sometimes didn't follow through with that. I would be like, Dad, we went sledding today, but the sled broke, so we just kept sliding down the hill on our butt. And my dad, whoa! What happened there, buddy? I forgot who you were. Okay, fine. I sledded down the hill on my bum. Do you hear how stupid that sounds? Sounds like I'm sliding down the hill on a homeless man that I own for some reason. Sliding on my bum. Come on, let's go. My dad goes, we don't say bum either. Oh, okay. What can I say? Well, in our family, we're going to use the word bim. It's not even a real word. It makes it sound like we're a British family or something. Like, I slid down the hill on me bim father. What a great day it was. Slid all the way to the bim of the hill. We couldn't say bottom either. Weird rules. I grew up in Seattle in the 1990s, the peak of the grunge era. And that was like Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, they all lived there. And it was like, oh, this is so cool. We're so cool right now. Everybody thinks we're cool. And my brothers won tickets to Lollapalooza, which was a huge, huge concert. 1994, tickets to Lollapalooza, hottest tickets in town. And it was, Pearl Jam was there, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, all these cool bands. Pearl Jam fans out there? I loved Pearl Jam as a kid. Eddie Vedder would sing just amazing, so cool, and he would like climb up in the rafters, and every word he sang, we didn't understand. He would come in with this voice, just singing the way he would sing, and he would go, on a weekend, on a whipping, on a wave. You're like, what was that, Eddie? I didn't catch. You were on a whippet, on a wave? And I know what I said when I've been, what I said when I'll be born again. On a runway, on a bed. I know I mean a box or a bag. You're like, oh, there was a box and a bag. That's what I got. Oh yeah, they were going to that concert with Eddie, and they were ready to sing along and talk about boxes and bags. And they were super excited about it. But my parents, they said this before they went. They went, hey, we'll let you guys choose. You won these from the radio station, so we'll let you choose if you go or you do not go. But we will let you know something about this concert. The devil's gonna be there. So, what do you think they chose? Yeah, they went. My two older brothers went. I got to stay home because I was the younger brother, and I remember just being so excited when they came home. I was like, how was the... Did you see Satan? Did he play the fiddle? I know he's good at that from another song. But they were like, he wasn't even there. I was like, well, that's stupid. Why did you even go? When I was a kid, my favorite band, when I was in third grade, it was kind of a weird band to love for a third grader. I loved Def Leppard. Remember Def Leppard? Yeah. Pour some sugar on me. That was my favorite thing. I was in third grade. I was Fruit Loops, Cocoa Puffs, Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles. Both, I was like, pour some sugar on me. Can't get enough. I thought that was the best thing in the world. The weird thing about it was that Def Leppard, well, first off, I wasn't even allowed to buy their album. I couldn't buy the Hysteria album because my mom didn't hear me right. When I said Def Leppard, she thought I said Death Leopard. And I was like, no, it's not a violent leopard. It's a hearing-impaired leopard. Friends with a jaguar, has a limp. They're very benign. Their drummer only has one arm. He's like, yeah, let's rock out, you guys. It's a true story. He was just up there, just playing like, and it sounded good for some reason. It didn't make any sense. Do a drum roll, and he was like, I can do it. And he was very talented. The problem with Def Leppard, though, is that they had a few hit songs that made sense for a third grader to like. Every other song, ballads, love ballads. Didn't make any sense for a third grader. This is still in my head from third grade, just being like, when you make love, do you look in the mirror? Who do you think of? Does he look like me? No, you should not. You're in third grade. You should be in prison if he looks like you. What are you talking about? They're my favorite band. I hear those bands now and I just feel like I'm grocery shopping. Isn't that the weird thing? You hear Def Leppard come on and you're just like, where are the eggs? Like, feels like you're just in the grocery store. That's what all the music ends up being. It's such a weird moment when the music you loved as a kid is now just like background, just like, who do you think of? Where's the bread? So here's the thing here's how I think I ended up doing this job. Because I told you my parents were religious. We went to church every Sunday. But once a month, where they took us to church, we didn't have regular church. Once a month, we would have an open mic at church. Some of you know what I'm talking about. You've been to an open mic Sunday. And not to leave anybody out, just in case you go, what's open mic Sunday? Oh, it's exactly what you think it is. It's an open mic. And the problem with an open mic is that you don't get, like, here's the thing. In your mind, it's beautiful. In your mind, you have, we have fantastically talented, amazing people who could get up and speak. It's an open mic. That's not who speaks. No, it's the weirdest person you've ever seen in your life. Who's like, now is my time to shine! And they get up. Oh, no. Who's that? Who's that guy? I've never seen that guy before. And they'll say something weird. You know it's weird because as a kid, actually everything that you hear is weird. Because when you're a kid, everything is new. So you can do this to kids and just be like, yeah, that's how we behave. And then be like, okay, I don't, it seems weird. And you're like, well, that's what we do. We do weird stuff, you know? Anytime you go into, no, that's not exciting, but if it's fun, they get into it. There's a tunnel where we go through it's in California on the way to my parents' house. They live in California now, like weirdos. And they should live here. It'd be a lot better. There's a tunnel right on the way to their house, and everybody honks their horn in the tunnel. And the first time you go through it, you're like, what? Hey, what? What's this? And then they go, oh, we all just honk our horn in this tunnel. And then you eventually accept it. You're like, that's really cool. And you honk your horn all the way through that one tunnel. You can do that to kids. When the guy gets up at open mic Sunday and just starts being like, I had a dream. And the cheese spoke to me. And you're like, is he talking about Jesus? Sorry. I don't know what that was, but here's the thing. I was a kid. I didn't know it was weird. I just thought, maybe this is what church is. I don't know. But I found out it was weird because somebody would get up after him and be like, okay, thank you for sharing that. And we don't believe that. That was weird. Let's get our next weirdo up here. And so then, as a kid, you learn to love the weirdos, right? The weirdos who they would be like, I know I'm not in this ward. That's the word they use, by the way. Ward. Like that makes you look normal. There's been 2 groups in the history of the world that have held on to that word for a designation of space. One of them is the one that I was just talking about, and the other is the one that you're thinking about right now. Do you know how crazy you sound when you're like, are you in my ward? Did you get lost from your ward? Yeah, I think I did. Where's your bathrobe? Get you back to your ward. I don't know where my ward is. I gotta find my ward. Just walking around. So I'm a kid in church, right? And a weirdo has just spoke, and I've been told that it's weird, and I love it. And so it became my favorite Sunday. You know, kids in church aren't sitting there like, I hope I hear something holy today. No, you're not like that at all. You're sitting there going, come on, weirdos. Sure hope I hear from some weirdos today. And you always did, every time. Just draws them in like a magnet and made it my favorite Sunday. I'll admit there was 2 years where it wasn't my favorite Sunday, but other than that, it was my favorite Sunday. Some of you know what I'm talking about there. So I went and became a missionary later on, and when you're a missionary, Open Mic Sunday terrifies you. You've invited people to your weird. And they see your weird on full display. And you're like, well, that's not normally how this goes. And then they're being weird and nobody's fixing it. And you feel this obligation now, like, oh, no one's fixing it, I have to fix it. Stupid 19-year-old me, gotta go up there and be like, hola. Yo soy Steve, and what they said, oh, no believo. Not true, oh. Weirdo, right? Yeah, I know that was the bishop, but we don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. It's a weird moment. They tell you it's the best 2 years of your life. That's what they tell you when you're about to leave. It is. I'm sorry to be a spoiler for anybody that's going. It is not. And normal people didn't want to talk to me when I was dressed like that. Could you imagine a normal person going up to someone dressed like that? Like, look at that. Oh, I'm gonna go talk to these guys. No, it was the weirdos. They were like, look at those guys. Woo! I'm gonna talk to them there, boys. Tell them about what's going on with the what. I had this one guy run up to me and my guy, the other guy, it just feels weird saying that, my partner, You're what, Steve? Yeah, I don't know, he was a good guy. He goes, I need to teach you boys about something. Do you know about the rapture? And I was like, no, I don't. What's the rapture? And he goes, oh my gosh, you don't even know. How do you not know? How do you not know about it? I'll tell you right now. The rapture is when he comes again. Good people. Just like that. He didn't even say what it was. He just made that sound. And the bad people, they get left behind to burn. I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds crazy. But whatever, you know, it was entertaining. And then 2 nights later, we had a tornado hit the town where me and my partner live. When the tornado hit the town, we were in a high-rise apartment. We were on the 16th floor of an 18th floor building. I woke up to rain hitting my face because it was so strong. This wind was blowing in through the window. My bed was here, and my companion, hello, his bed was right there. So my bed, his bed, the window, and I'm still getting hit with rain in my face. And I look over, and it's strobe light and lightning, just like a strobe light, and the curtains are sticking straight out, and he is not in his bed. And all I can think, he was raptured! And you're just sitting there getting hit with the rain, and you're like, oh, you know why you're still here. Quick break. I was freaking out. I didn't know where he was. I was like, Elder? Hey, Elder Smith? He's in the front room shutting the windows. He's like, I'm shutting the windows. Oh, good. Come back to bed and... too scared. Probably my best part of my mission was right before I left. Do you remember that part? They treated you like you were they treated you amazing. Everybody's like, what's your favorite food? Spaghetti. Why? It's your last meal. They give you gifts you don't want, clothes that don't fit, and then they give you the gift of, you get to pick who's going to speak when you leave. You're going to have a special church meeting, and you get to pick who speaks. You get to pick the songs they're going to sing. That was a weird gift that I didn't need. It was like we could sing that song they sang when the Titanic was sinking. That's a hymn, right? I asked my dad, I was like, I don't know what hymn to pick, Dad. I don't know the hymns. And my dad goes, I don't care, Steve. Just don't pick the pirate hymn. I was like, I won't. What one's that? My dad goes, the one that goes, ooh. It's like, what, in the foghorn note? I'm not familiar with that. And my dad says, I'll sing it for you, but I got to do it how it should be done. My dad is a weirdo, and so he sings, who's on the Lord's side, who? Now is the time you show. We ask it fearlessly, who's on the Lord's side, who? We wage no common war. No fear will blanch the brow. Here's the thing. I get that a lot of the hymns we sing are from old Irish drinking songs. It's fine. Make it your own. That's great. But when you're already singing a sea shanty, and you know you sound like a pirate, and you have control over the lyrics, why? No fear will blanch the brow? No coward bears our flag? Oh, what flag is that? The Jolly Roger? Who's on the Lord's side? Ooh. Everybody's singing this foghorn note. Just going, is that for real? And you look in the upper left-hand corner, sing, pirately. Oh, there it is right there. When you hear, ooh, you're like, am I on Pirates of the Caribbean? You could just feel that. Couldn't you see that? Just the pirate up there just being like, who's on the large side? Ooh, you landlubber. Are you on the large side? You're like, the Lord's side? The lard. The Lord, the lard. He's out there on the starboard side. You'll see him walking on the water. Just, whew. You guys, thanks. That's nice of you. That shouldn't make me out of breath, but it does. I had to do that joke for you guys, because you're the only crowd that likes it. We sang it when I left. I get messages all the time from people who are like, we sang it today. People I've never met, just on social media, they're like, we sang it today, just so you know. I had a guy during COVID sent me a invite to go to his baptism virtually, and I was like, oh, sure, why me? And he said, you're gonna see why. You're special to my conversion. And I was like, okay, what? I really didn't understand. And before he was baptized, they handed out eye patches to everybody in the crowd. And he's sitting with an eye patch. And everybody in the crowd is like, what? And the missionaries, they were wearing, nobody else, just him and his missionaries are wearing an eye patch, and they sang, "Who's on the Lord, say who." It's one of my favorite moments of my life, where you just feel so proud and so full of regret. I don't know how to do social media. Do you guys know how to do social media? It's confusing. I finally have someone else helping me out with it, and they're doing a great job. And it's changed everything for me, because the last person that I asked to help me do social media was a 15-year-old. I was like, you know how to do this? And they're like, yeah. They have more Instagram followers than I do. And I was like, teach me. And they were like, okay, first off, we have to find your algorithm and see what the algorithm thinks that you like. And whatever you engage with, that's what, it's going to feed it to those types of people. So we need to get into your crowd. And so I was like, okay. I'd never even used the search button. And so I go, okay, let's see. And I press search, and everything pops up. And this is what we think you're into. And it turns out it was very revealing to me. What Instagram thinks I'm into is hot girls who are remodeling old school buses and living off the grid. It's very specific. It's like, this is what you're into. And I'm looking at it like, are you serious? And I stayed on the page too long. Just staring at all this school bus booty, and I don't think I'm into that. And Instagram's looking back on my face and being like, we know what you're into. You're still on this page, aren't you? Look at you. You have to scroll. If you're not into something, you don't want it to be on your algorithm, scroll away. You gotta be so fast. You gotta be like, no, not today, not today. You gotta be the Joseph of Egypt of Instagram, right? Just, I'm out of here. You gotta get out of there. I don't know if that rings true to you, but do you remember that Sunday school lesson they taught you when you were 11 years old? They were like, we're gonna teach you guys to be chaste, so we're gonna tell you about Joseph of Egypt. And you're like, okay, what happened to him? And they're like, first off, he had a lot of siblings. And you're like, same. And they were like, his siblings didn't like him. You're like, I'm the middle child. And then they go, and they sold him. And you're like, what? I didn't even know that was a thing. You could do that? They sold their brother into slavery. And you're like, what? Okay, do they know this story? Or I don't think this is safe. Don't tell them this part. I don't think they know that I'm for sale. But Joseph was very good at winning favor with people. And so he was a slave, but he worked in the king's palace. And the king had a buddy who had a real hot wife. She used to live in an old remodeled school bus, and real sexy lady. And she took a liking to Joseph, who was not for sale, but she noticed Joseph, and she was like, I think he's a pretty hot dude. And Joseph, by the way, didn't dress maybe as clever as most. Joseph would just get ready and he would have a towel, and he'd be like, that's good, and that was it. And you were like, don't you want to button that? And Joseph was like, I tucked it, it's gonna stay. Why would this ever be a problem? And it was a problem because Potiphar's wife was like, I bet I could get that towel. And they're telling you this whole story as you're 11 years old. And it starts to scare you a little bit. I mean, after this story, I remember I was, every time coming out of the shower, just like, nope. Nope. Got my hand on it. No one's gonna get my towel. She did, by the way. She got his towel. That's recorded in the scriptures. They were like, and they got Joseph's towel. And And I knew it happened because they also had a painting of it. They showed us this painting in Sunday school, which I feel like is a weird painting to want to paint. Like if you were a painter and you're like, I'm going to do some Bible scenes, I'd be like, Last Supper, that's a good one. Maybe like the Sermon on the Mount or something. And then one painter was like, I'm going to do when the wife stole the towel. Like, you should do, don't you want to do the loaves and fishes thing? No, I'm going to paint this one. And he was into it. Joseph looked amazing. Abs and stuff like that. He's running away like, ugh. And the lady still in the towel, she's really sexy. She's looking good and has this like lusty look on her face, like, eh. And they show you this story as an 11-year-old kid, and they go, be chaste, kids. Well, quit telling kinky stories with pictures. I was thinking of none of this before this started. If you had paid me, I would never come up with this scenario. Now it's all I'm going to think about for the next 5 years. I'm pretty sure Joseph isn't even into her, because he also happened to have a coat, and he wrote about it. He's like, and I also happen to have a coat of many colors. When he wrote that, he might as well have put, and shoes to match. Like, just, why'd you have a rainbow coat, Joseph? All right. This is where I get electrocuted, and and she was a great guy. Oh boy. I don't know. This has been a tremendously fun life to have. I've enjoyed doing this comedy very much. I've enjoyed just the only part of this that isn't great is the health insurance. It is just essential oils. That's all it is. Yeah. And some of you are like, that'll work, you know? I don't even know why we have hospitals. We have doTERRA. That's all Idaho and Utah should be. You show up to the hospital and they're like, what's your problem? Lavender. What do you got going on? Frankincense. Put it on. I'm better. I had a thing happen to me one time that, I don't know, essential oils wasn't going to fix. I had appendicitis. Has anybody ever had appendicitis? I tried to fix it. I was like, lavender, 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 you know, nothing. My friends were like, you needed to make a poultice of frankincense. Draw it out. I didn't even know it was my appendix. That's the thing. If you have appendicitis, you have to figure it out yourself, right? You gotta go to WebMD, type in your symptoms, and you're like, oh my gosh, my ovaries. What is going on? I didn't blame it on my ovaries. If you have appendicitis, you've probably done the same thing. You blame it on what you ate, right? You're like, oh, this was that burrito I ate. And I had a burrito, and I already have a plan for if I eat a bad burrito, right? I do a maneuver. It's a simple maneuver. Anybody can do it. I call it the Pancho Villa push-out. It's where you eat a second bigger burrito. Right? Pushes out the bad burrito. It's a good idea, right? That'll work. If you do a Pancho Villa push-out, be close to home. Don't be far from home. You've lit a fuse. Two burritos are racing each other to see who's going to be first at Stinko de my hole. Like, you don't want to celebrate that away from home. I was not home. I was in New York City. And I had to fly all the way home to Salt Lake City. That's where I live now. I don't think I told you guys that, but now you know. Oh yeah, I did, because they have bad air. And yeah, flew all the way home. The problem was my flight was delayed, and that was the worst. I didn't get on the plane until 11 p.m. I got off at about 3 a.m. just walking, I could barely walk. I was just walking like, oh my gosh. Oh. I was walking like Joe Biden before he was told he didn't have to run again. Remember that? Oh, I don't feel so good. And they were like, you don't have to run, Joe. Oh, thank God. You can get out of here, buddy. Yeah. To be fair, everybody getting off the plane at 3 a.m., they were all walking like that. They were all just shuffling. And you see them shuffle with you, and you're like, did you have a failed push-out too? Follow me, keep it clenched, here we go. Went home, tried to sleep, couldn't sleep, too much pain. And I Googled, a very stupid Google, but it was very sincere. It was like, I've eaten 2 burritos. How do I fart? And, excuse me, how do I fluff? And, how do I fanny burp? And, no, I Googled that, and it was, so many yoga poses came up. Which you know is true. If you've ever been to yoga, it's just a bunch of people wearing the thinnest pants that they own. Trying to hold it in. It's so bad. That's not lemon coming out of your Lulu. It's a bad idea. Put me downward dog. 4 a.m. just being like, get out, I have bad insurance, please. I'm all out of frankincense. So I went to the hospital, and at the hospital they go, it looks like you ate a little burrito, and then a bigger burrito. And I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. No, it's not. So they prepped me to do, well, she said, actually, your appendix is also gonna burst, so we're gonna take that out. So they prepped me for that, the appendectomy. Does anybody have an appendectomy? Anybody have? A few of you? Yeah? Did you get, how long ago did you get it done? Was it like a laparoscopic? What's that? 5 or 6 years ago. Oh yeah, they probably did it laparoscopic then. Where's your scar? Over here? On your left-hand side? Maybe you don't even have a scar. It's kind of a weird thing. So there's different ways to do appendectomies. I know it because my mom had one when she was a little kid. She said they just cut you open here and they take it out. And that makes sense based on my knowledge of surgery from the game Operation. Take it out, don't touch the sides. So it was weird to me when they said, we're gonna do a laparoscopic appendectomy. It's less invasive. We're gonna cut you on the left-hand side, reach all the way across, because it's less invasive if we do it this way. I was like, no, it would be shorter if you just went right there. You just get it and get it. Why would you start over there if you're gonna finish over here? It's like coming into this theater and you have the seat right there on the aisle, and you come from this aisle and you go, excuse me. Excuse me. It's shorter, it's less invasive if I do it this way. It will be less invasive. Like, I don't think that's true. And they go, no, it is true because we make a tinier hole and nothing is in the way because we inflate you. Well, that changed my life. Because up until that point, I did not know we are inflatable. Did you guys know that? Everybody in here is inflatable. That's such a weird thing to think that just at any point you could just be inflated. You should just see your friend one day like, what's going on? You're like, well, I inflated myself today. I wanted to float. when they inflated me, it was impossible to not picture the doctor at my belly button with a straw just when the surgical tech being like, it's not gonna inflate unless you pinch it. You gotta pinch it just like a pool toy. There you go. There you go. Inflated me. Somebody must have deflated me because I woke up and I was already deflated. I wanted to be the one to do it, just to grab your belly, just, you know. I don't think the doctor does it. I don't think he does. I think somebody else does it. There's somebody in the post-op recovery room who's just like, and maybe like, save that one. I think it's gonna be funny. Just, we're gonna record it. They did it. They got my appendix out and they said, we saved your life. It was about to burst. And I said, thank you. Thank you for doing that. They do that because they're about to give you a bill for $25,000. I asked my accountant, I go, look, if I write a joke about this, can I write this off? That's why that joke exists. What time did we start? It's already 9? Okay, we should, what should we do? Do you guys want to just hang out, or? Rock, paper, scissors? Sometimes I do like to do a joke that does involve the audience. Because I do have a little bit of a brain that forgets what I'm doing sometimes, and maybe you guys could help me fill in the blanks, like on a story. Is that okay? Would you guys like to do that? It's a little bit of a choose-your-own-adventure. Because I think I mentioned I grew up in a big family. I don't know. Honestly, I feel like telling you guys 5 kids is a big family is like, more of a good start. Just 5 kids. But my dad, we would go on family road trips, you know. And the car that we would always take was one of those, do you guys remember what it was? Yeah, it was one of the Gremlins. Yeah, it was a little gremlin car. All 7 of us would pile in the Gremlin, and we would head down to my grandma's house, because we would always, every year, go to her house for the, what was it? We would do the, do you remember what it was?
4th of July.
For the 4th of July, yeah. What was the first one before that?
Thanksgiving.
We'll go with 4th of July. Because at 4th of July, we would always have that very famous, oh man, my grandma would make the, it was, she would make just cheese. She would just make cheese. Not even any particular kind. She would just, we'd be like, what's this from? And she was like, it's just cheese. You guys don't ask. She lived all the way down in Southern California, and we were from Washington, and we would take a long time to get there. This is actually, it's weirdly true. We would take 24 hours to get from Seattle to beautiful Bakersfield, California. Rivals Rupert in its beauty, and beautiful place. We would go in there, and I remember when we were like almost down to Bakersfield, we would stop into a McDonald's, and my dad has this habit of talking too long. So do I. Sorry about that. I know it's already 9 o'clock. My dad would be at the drive-thru and be like, hey, we're going all the way from Seattle, Washington down to Southern California. Long trip, long journey, 5 kids in the car, and we've made a lot of bathroom stops, every single one between here and there, and it has taken forever, and you wouldn't believe it, but this used to be my work van. I build closets for a living, but now I do construction, and we decided to mod this one out and fit one for the kids, right? They're all in there. You can't see them because it used to be a work van. That's why there are no windows, but they're in there, and we just wanted to order 7 chocolate cones. And the person on the other end of the drive-thru would go, what? We're coming all the way from Seattle, Washington. It was just like, Dad, stop it. Why would you do that? It's the most embarrassing thing. But yeah, on our way down, of course, because inevitably we had this motto as kids. We had this thing that we would drive it till it dies. Did you guys have that motto? Drive it till it dies. I've had 2 or 3 cars in my life. I've driven them till they die. Here's the problem with that. One time, they die. You just don't get where you're going that day. You just stand on the side of I-15 like, I did it. Drove it till it died. So proud of myself. The gig's like, are you gonna get here? No, I drove it till it died. Good job. No businesses have this motto. They don't have this, like, well, that's not true. Boeing, I think. Boeing's doing that, I think. Remember when they, well, I don't know. I just know I started paying attention during the safety briefing when the doors started flying off. I was like, what? Talk more about where the exits are. I don't want to fly out one of those. But yeah, we would go all the way down to Southern California for my grandma's famous cheese, and inevitably the car would break down and we'd end up on the side of the road. That's a true story. Almost every time it broke down, all 7 of us sitting there waiting on the curb. My dad would pop the hood and he would see the problem. It was almost always one of the, oh my gosh, what was it that would go wrong?
The spark plug valve.
Say that again, it was the what valve?
The hyphen-duffelator valve.
See, it was the hyphen-duffelator valve. I think a lot of people don't know this, but my dad is Dr. Seuss, and he would see that, he'd be like, the hyphen-duffelator, and we'd be like, the hyphen-duffelator, and they'd be like, no way, and we'd all break into song, the hyphen-duffelator. When should we fix it later? And it was a big mess, and we didn't know what to do, so we all just started, doing the old, let's just hitchhike, right? And this guy stopped. He was driving one of those, what was he driving? What was that? Why am I hearing F flat? Did you hear it good?
Driving a meth lab.
Oh, a meth lab. Is that what you said? I like that you heard it. It was a meth lab, and we all got in. And we were like, oh my gosh, Fruit Loops. And he was like, no, Fruit Loops aren't all blue. And just throwing them in our mouths. We were having a great time. The meth lab. I got offered drugs one time I was in Las Vegas, and it was one of those things where this guy, we were looking at the Bellagio fountain after my friend had lost $500 at roulette. You ever been in that scenario where you don't bet, but your friend does, and you're like, bet it all on black, and then the game ends like really fast. It was like $500. I was like, sorry about that. So I go outside, and this guy comes up to me, and he goes, hey, man, do you need some cocaine? And I was like, we just lost all our money. We're more on a meth diet right now. And he goes, no problem, man. Let me ask you something else. Have you ever been with a dude? It became clear to me that suddenly our drug dealer was now a prostitute, and he was the product, and I didn't want to hurt his feelings. That's who I am. And I was like, oh, that's nice. No, thank you. Very polite, no thank you to the drug dealing prostitute. And he did a thing that we do in comedy clubs sometimes. Sometimes we go to a crowd and we go, hey, are you guys excited to be here? And the crowd goes, yeah. They go, oh my gosh, I didn't hear you. Are you excited to be here? And the crowd goes, yeah, because you don't want to be asked a third time. It's too much. And so when I said, no, thank you, he went, you mean to tell me you've never been with a dude? I was like, I haven't, let's go! And His name was Diamond. He's in the car. If you want to meet him after the show, we'll get him out. So we all hopped in the meth lab, headed on down to Grandma's house to try out the cheese. I mean, it was just a beautiful trip. And when we finally got there, the meth lab guys dropped us off. We were like, do you want to come in? And they said, no thanks, we're going to go to the, where were they going? They were going to, they were going to a Def Leppard concert, yeah. It was in Rupert, Idaho, and at the Wilson Theater. They were fantastic. I know that I should probably close right here, and you guys are probably thinking, yeah, you should. I have a joke that I brought a bunch of stickers from a joke that I didn't do tonight, and if you want to pick them up later, it's a hot sauce bottle that says, touch me mild. You can just research that joke later. I'll do one more little quick story and then we'll get out of here. This is a quick story about a time that, this one I like telling in venues like this because you guys, you would get what it is. It's about a time that I used to go with my dad once a month to visit hoarders. Yeah. Some of you have gone to hoarders' houses once a month. When I was 15 years old, we would go and visit hoarders once a month, me and my dad, dressed all nice, go into hoarder's house, debate whether we should breathe through our nose or our mouth, figure out where to sit. Is that a couch or is that a stack of dead flat cats? What is that? My dad would always be like, Steve, quit being weird, just get on over here. You don't have to sit on the cats. You can just sit on my knee. It's 15. I don't want to sit on my dad's knee. He's like, get your bim over here. Come on. Sit your bim down here on your dad's knee. And I was grumpy about it. And I was like, I can't believe this. This is stupid. And he could tell I was grumpy, so he bounced me just a little bit. A little bouncy. I remember being like, Dad, I'm not a baby. He patted me on my back, and I burped, and I felt better. Then a cat that was not yet flat wanders through the rubble, hops up on my dad's other knee, vomits on his knee. It was insane. Kitty was like, you guys smell normal. I fixed it. When we got barfed on, I remember feeling relief. It's like, we can leave. But we didn't leave, because we had the hoarders, they just go, that happens. It was a regular day for them, and we're like, no, it doesn't. This is the first time I've been on my dad's lap and a cat has vomited. To them, it was fine, so we just sat there with cat barf on one knee, me on the other, a message in our hearts. My dad starts to share, and he goes, we just wanted to come on and see what we can do to help you guys out. I can tell he smells his knee. He's doing a lot of that. Did you ever do that? When you don't want to breathe what someone else is doing? Sometimes you'll be talking to somebody and you're like, oh my gosh, they have a breath that if they breathe out when I breathe in, I'm gonna die. And you panic. I don't want to breathe their breath. What do I do? How do I not? Blow out softly when they're talking to you. Did you ever do that? Hey, how's it going? Pretty good. Beautiful day today. Sure is. Why is it breezy? I don't know. Because your breath smells like flat cats. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. So there we sit in the hoarder's home, cat barf on one knee, me on the other, and my dad is doing that. He's doing that cough that we all do on planes now, where you cough with your mouth shut. Did you do that? Where you're like, And it progresses from and I can tell it's coming up the stairs. It's not good. Because the top of this, it's getting louder and louder as we're going up, and I can tell he's about to hit the top note, which is it's dad sneeze loud. I don't know if you know how loud that is. Dad sneezes are powerful. You hear his dad sneeze, and you're like, have I been shot? What just happened? Why is that so powerful? And he does the and he hits his top note, which is I don't mean to hit that too hard, but because you hear and your brain goes, what? If you hear somebody go, your brain goes, why do we want to do that? They hit it too, and mirror neurons in your brain are like, you go, don't make that sound anymore. Some of you are like, stop making that sound. If you go, I go, if you hit one more, this is gonna end dry. Honestly, when my dad hit, I was like, please stop bouncing, please stop bouncing, please stop bouncing. I'm feeling it, I'm feeling it. I'm not gonna, Dad, please. He stops bouncing me, starts elbowing me. That means, hey, say the thing that you say at the end. She's always the same, the end thing. Is there anything we can do to help you? You never say that at the beginning, do you? Because if you said that at the beginning, you would end up helping them. Not what you're there for. You're there to annoy them. We end up saying it at the end. I say it, I'm 15, I have no skill set. It's like, is there anything I can do to help you? Do you need any Nintendo codes? They say no, so we barf and we get out of there. I'm gonna get out of here as well. I'll be out there with those goofy stickers and saying hi and meeting all of you. You guys have been fantastic. Thank you so much. Have a great night.